Hey guys, this is FlashX007, and today I'd like to review the 1/100 scale Gundam Crossbone X-1 Verka. And as always, I'd like to thank GK Gundam Kit for providing the model, but without further ado, let's begin. So I'd like to begin by comparing the Crossbone with the high-grade Universal Sentry Just the Cannon, and as you can see from the size comparison, the Just the Cannon is almost as tall as the Crossbone. So in terms of experience, this is one of the first master grades I've seen to be slightly smaller compared to the rest of the master grades. But that's basically it for the high grade. I just really wanted to show you the size difference between the Crossbone and the usual high grade you see nowadays. Now here's another comparison with the Crossbone and a master grade Jesta. And this is going to be the major difference in terms of the size, the detail, and the design. So as you can see on the master grade Jesta, it's just towering over the Crossbone. Not only that, but it's rather bulky and big. And again, both are master grades, but you can really see the major difference in the design and the detail and the scale between both master grades. This is a 2006 master grade release, while this is a 2013 master grade release. But if you really want to understand the real difference between the size, all these specifications, the designs, and the scales models come out in, it's from the specifications of the actual height the mobile suit would have been in 1:1 scale. Like for example, the 1:1 scale Gundam RX-78 statue over at Gundam Front Tokyo. That's one example of being a 1:1 scale. So just looking at the Crossbone, imagining it's 1:1 scale, it's obviously smaller compared to the usual designs you usually see. And the V Gundam also carries across this design in terms of the size. So basically, it's not in terms of the model being small, it's the specifications, the actual height of the mobile suit being small, which is why the Master Grade Crossbone is smaller compared to the usual Master Grades you would expect. But that's pretty much in terms of the comparisons, and it would be unfair if I were to compare the features throughout with the Jesta and the Crossbone, because obviously this is a 2006 model, while this is 2013. So that's basically it for the size comparison. And again, I just want to show you how much of a difference it is between the two. So pretty much both are still badass, so both definitely recommend getting them if you have not yet. But that's basically it for the comparison. Now in terms of the detail of the Crossbone, there's actually a lot to it, and Katoki Hajime is always famous for his overabundant use in decals and markings, water slides, this, that. But due to the fact that this is a 2006 Verka, it's not the same as the new Verka or the upcoming Sazabi Verka. But still, the details are quite exceptional, and if you're worried about that, you shouldn't be. However, the one thing that I do need to point out is, compared to the usual master grades you could expect and experience, the Crossbone really requires some touch-ups and painting. Like for example, the sides of the face, that red scar right there on the side of the eyes, that needs to be painted in because the detail's there, but just cross it off with some red Gundam marker, take off the excess with a Q-tip, and you get the scar effect right there as you see. The same thing can be said for the skulls, otherwise they're going to be left completely white, so definitely I recommend you guys painting them and touching them up to slight areas and degrees, otherwise it's still not going to look as good snap built. So either way, the Crossbone definitely needs some touch-ups. But also another difference, or something that I recommend you guys doing, is instead of panel lining the face mask, I recommend you guys do what I did, which is paint inside the face to have that red mouth, because that's really a truly nice gimmick to it, and it really brings out the detail and theme of the Crossbone. Because the Crossbone, it's a badass pirate, and what could be badass than having a red mouth, having a menacing look to it. So pretty much throughout the video I'm just going to keep that open because I really like that about the look. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, you will need to paint the weapons, otherwise those are going to be completely white as well. But besides that fact, going over the detail, really quite exceptional, and as you can notice, I panel lined, I markered, and not markered, but I marked up the using markings and along with the dry transfers. So pretty much this is what the Crossbone should look more or less once you snap build it. But again, the detail is quite exceptional, and yeah, you will not be disappointed in such. When it comes to the articulation of the Crossbone, let's just start off with the head. The head does the standard 360, obviously, and it does the left and right, of course. However, it also goes forward and back, and it can also look down, and it can look up. So there's a lot of features to it, and you can actually get a lot of angles with it. It's rather loose, but there is an advantage to that, which I'll show you guys later on. But moving on from that, the arm, that's how far the arms move. So not that bad in terms of angle and degree. And also, if you want, you can also slide this up to reveal the inner frame. But that's probably useful for the cloth, which the model comes with, which I'll go over later. But again, that's probably why that's there. But again, not that bad. And even the shoulder itself can move like that. And it can also move forward like so. So really nice features, especially because it's a 2006 model. Not quite what I expected. And also for this, everything turns by itself. What I mean by that is this can turn by itself 360, or the lower portion can do 360. The hands can obviously do 360 as well, but also the beam knuckles right here, which I'll go over later, that can basically flip around and go over the hands. So pretty much the arms are very articulate. And to wrap things up with the arms, the double joint feature allows it to touch 180 degrees, but you gotta look out for this part. If you continuously touch it, or maybe extend it to 180 degrees like you see right here, the arms can get loose. So just be careful with it, but just knowing how articulate it is, it has an advantage to it, especially in terms of display and poses and all that sort of stuff. But also, going over the chest or the torso, I actually like this about it because it's double jointed. What I mean by that is there's a ball joint inside the middle right here, but there's another ball joint connecting to the waist. So with that allows it to go forward and back, 360, but I advise against the 360 because if you do it, the back skirt part right here falls off. So just be careful, but it can do that, but also it can do left, right, so pretty much even the torso can do angles just like the head. It's very flexible, and if you're looking for a certain degree in posing or like a certain look to it, it can probably pull it off, especially with the action base connected to it. But besides that, the skirts, that's how far the skirts move, and they are weapons, the front and back skirts, but I'll go over those later. Also the side skirts, that's how far they move. These are not that important to move, so it's understandable for them to be less articulate. And for the back, same thing. Again, not that bad, but obviously I don't really see myself or anybody really using that sort of angle. So the skirts are flexible and they don't limit the movement of the legs, and that's what's important. And besides that, speaking of the legs can actually do 360 obviously. And besides that, let's just bend it forward before we go back. As you can see right there, that's the maximum degree. But once you push it back, you're going to be surprised to see that it can actually touch its backpack, its shoulder, and it's 180, just like the arms. So again, not that bad in terms of articulation, and I was really surprised, especially because it's a 2006 model. So all these features are quite surprising. But what doesn't surprise me is the fact that it's a Verkas, so it's probably a specialty. But if you, what I mean by that is like Verkas differentiate between master grades, just to clear things up. But going back to the articulation, the ankles, they go up and down like so. Same thing can be said with the back flaps right here. But I like to keep them in this angle because it's just more dynamic like that, and I don't feel like touching them like that too much. But besides that, the feet, to wrap things up, you can do side to side, forward and back. And when you do forward and back, when you do it like this, you can reveal the pistons inside. And that's one area I recommend you guys painting. Unfortunately, I did not do that much in terms of painting the Crossbone because I got lazy. But another thing would be the toes can move up and down. But just be careful because the part can get loose. It is kind of finicky, so that's one downfall because it's rather old. But that's pretty much it for the articulation, and not quite bad. But I'll also go over the Crossbone after this. So here's the core fighter in all its glory. And honestly, I don't really see anything special with it. I mean, the detail, it's there to be noticed. I panel lined some of it to bring out the detail, like the vents right there. And it does have stickers, most assuredly. Like, for example, this side right here, along with this side. So there's 4 in total in the front. And all the yellow you see right here are stickers. Unfortunately, I do recommend you guys painting it, but I do understand the laziness. I was lazy, so I didn't paint it myself. But again, I don't really see anything special with it. This is my first Master Grade that comes with a core fighter, or the gimmick of a core fighter. And honestly, like, after this video, I'm never going to see it again because I'm going to put it into the Crossbone. And that's what I expect you guys to do. But I think what Bandai had the intention of doing is just offering this, because the Crossbone comes with a cloth, so if you want to display the core fighter by itself and the Crossbone with the cloth, you can do it like that, so that way you have a 2-option display piece. But I don't really like that, and this actually helps the cloth balance out and be held in a certain angle in the back, so I definitely recommend you guys keeping this on the Crossbone. And especially because, I don't know about you, but in my experience, it's a pain just removing this from the Crossbone, so once you put it in there, don't stress out about it and just keep it there. But it is a Katoki core fighter, so you can notice the markings. You don't really need to go crazy with it. All I did was just use the red dots and the stripe along with the 2 parts right there. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, the manual actually makes you go crazy with it, and I really hated that about it because the markings are so big, and unless you cut them off and make them smaller because it comes with excess space, it's really going to suck and it's going to peel off like you see probably here. I probably should have applied these using tweezers, but I applied them using my fingers, so the oil is probably making them less sticky. Unfortunately, but it is what it is. And to wrap things up in the back, you don't really need to see the articulation of the core fighter. The back, very well detailed, and especially if you painted that area, it would so much improve the detail, because those are hydraulics or pistons, and those are so fun to paint and improve on detail. And the one thing I really like about the core fighter is the exceptional detail in the thrusters. They're so good, and I'm kind of pissed off at myself for not painting them. So I might paint them later on, but especially if you're lazy, they're easy to take off. So if you want to paint them, you can definitely do so without having to disassemble it, and you would have nice looking thrusters. And the detail inside is so good, and that's what I really like about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the core fighter. Articulate wings, so not that exciting. They move front, back. They can turn into that X shape, or you can fold them downwards, and this is useful for when you attach it to the Crossbone. And speaking of which, let's do that. So you just bend it, and you just make it connect to the vent right there. It's all about bending. There's nothing special to it, so you just bend it like that. And if you are wondering how to do it right, if you can't see the vents anymore, you did it right. And that's pretty much it for that. Then you push these up, and I recommend you push this up as well. Pretty straightforward, right? And then let me grab the Crossbone and connect this baby. So yeah, after I connect this, I will never see it again because I am not connecting it out. And the reason why I recommend you guys taking that flap out like this is because it hides that little black space on the back. Right there, there's a space. So that's what that flap is for. Yep. And there you have it, the Crossbone with its wings, or the X-wings I like to say. Stupid camera can't really capture it like that. But yeah, just looking at it, pretty straightforward and simple. And if you really want to go all out, just connect the beam sabers, or just store them in there. And yeah, pretty much you're good to go. So once you put them in there, they should be good. Let's open the cockpit, check that out. Yep, the core fighter is in there. Not sure if you can see that, but yeah, the little guy's there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the core fighter. Not that special.